All right, number 2. People who say that D County is flat are clearly wrong. What? Okay, I guess people that say that this is flat is wrong. On flat land, soil erosion by water is not a problem. Consequently, farmers whose land is flat do not build terraces and prevent erosion. Yet, I hear that farms in D County are dotted with terraces. All right, so our conclusion here is people who say that D County is flat are wrong. So they're trying to say that D County is not flat. So this is our conclusion. Our next premise is on flat land. So whenever it is flat, soil erosion by water is not a problem. So we're going to say that on whenever it's flat, soil erosion by water is not a problem. And then we say consequently, farmers whose land is flat do not build terraces to prevent erosion. All right, so once again, we're saying farmers whose land is flat. So I'm just going to continue this on to my F. Do not build terraces to prevent erosion. So we don't have terraces. Cool. And then, yet I hear that the farms in DC are dotted with terraces. So we're saying that whenever we're in DC, we actually have terraces. So our argument structure here is we're saying that something that has one skill, so like something that is flat, does not have soil erosion by water, and it doesn't have terraces. And then we're proving that DC is not flat by showing that it has one of those things. So our contrapositive of this argument right here is that if something does have terraces, then it's not flat. All right, so let's go into our answer choices. So A says, if we paint the room white, it will get smudged, and we will have to paint it again soon. Therefore, we should paint it dark blue. Okay, I have no idea. Like, I feel like this is actually flawed because it's saying like if we paint it white, it'll get smudged and we'll have to do it again. So why should we paint it dark blue? Like, why can't we paint it pink? That's irrelevant. So it's not A. B says people with children need more space than those without children. Yet people with no children can usually afford bigger houses. Okay, cool. But we don't compare anything in our argument. Like we don't say people on flat land need to prevent erosion more than people not on flat land. So that's not comparison at all. C says people who get a lot of exercise have no trouble falling asleep. Hence, people who get a lot of exercise do not use medication to help them fall asleep. Jack is taking many kinds of medication, so he must not be getting a lot of exercise. All right, so this one is close enough that I wanted to check it out. So let's go ahead and find our conclusion, which is Jack must not be getting a lot of exercise. So I was going to compare this to our other one. We're saying that Jack is not getting a lot of exercise. And so why are we saying that? So people who do get a lot of exercise have no problem falling asleep. So I'm gonna say trouble falling asleep. We don't have. And then people who also get a lot of exercise do not use medication. Cool, so I like this again. And then we say Jack is taking medication. So I'm gonna go ahead and use my yellow. Jack is taking medication. Therefore, he must not be getting a lot of exercise. So I love how Jack is taking medication. So for here, all right, so for here, what we're saying is, so Jack taking the medication is similar to Terrence's not being flat. Oh, sorry, no, DC. So in our original argument, when we say Dooney County is dotted with terraces, these are the same thing here, our same structure. And then we also line up our, if you do have exercise, you do not have a problem falling asleep and you aren't taking medication, this lines up to if you are flat land, then you don't have soil erosion by water and you don't have a problem with terraces. And then our conclusion is Jack must not be having exercise, which is similar to Dooney County must not be flat. And then when we did our contrapositive up here where we said, therefore, I'm going to do this in blue. Therefore, we said so originally we said, if you are flat, you don't have terraces. So the contrapositive of that is that if you do have terraces, you're not flat. And down below here, that means that if you don't take medication, well, then you're not Jack, sorry. Let's look at this statement right here where we're saying, if you exercise, then you're not taking medication. So what does that mean that if you do take medication, you're not exercising? And so since Jack is taking medication, that means that he must not be exercising, which is parallel to if DC, Dooney County, has a terrace, and if you have a terrace, you are not flat. So that's why C is going to be our answer. But if we go on to see, D, if I go grocery shopping, when I'm hungry, I buy snack foods and cannot resist eating them, therefore I cannot lose weight. I mean, cool, but this is actually flawed. Not our same argument structure. And then E says people who have many friends tend to go out often, so they need cars. Therefore, if Joe wants to have many friends, he must buy a car. Once again, we're not saying like, hey, remember our argument structure is people say that this thing doesn't have this other thing because to have that other thing, you must have or not have these two traits, and we have one of those traits. Therefore, we can't have that thing. And that thing is either we cannot be flat or we are not taking exercise. And so our answer is going to be C.